Oh my God, you guys, I could not go to bed until I told you this information. I have to tell you this information. So I got the transcripts for today, June 17th. And let me tell you something. The judge was on 10 this morning. If you have not watched my videos earlier today, make sure you do, regarding the judge and being really upset about the leak and what he said on June 16th. Well, now we are June 17th, and he had something to say. So let me tell you what happened. June 17th, early in the morning, the judge is on 10. He's asking everybody how this information got out, what's the source of the media, who's the source of the media, and what is happening, and everything is supposed to be sealed. You're going to hear me read what he had to say. So here's the issue. TMZ released an article yesterday, late last night, regarding juror number 7, who apparently received a text message asking if they were juror number 6. Now, we don't know who gave him this text message or who sent it, or if it was a text message. It could have been an email. I don't know, a message. Okay. And we had a lot of questions about the situation, right? Well, that became a TMZ article. The other question that we had is who gave the information to TMZ about that if all of this is supposed to be under seal? And that is the issue. Who is leaking information to TMZ? Agnifilo denies it. Comey denies it. So if it's not the attorneys and they're denying it, they're investigating. If they're lying, somebody's going to get called out. They're investigating it. But it could be a clerk staff, but they looked into that. All the people in there, everything was under seal. Everybody was accounted for, and everything was sealed in the transcripts. So who leaked the information to TMZ? Could it have been the juror themselves? Maybe. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think, but I have to show you exactly what the judge said. Let's go. So the court speaks, the judge. Ms. Comey, do you know who the source of the article in question was? Who's the source? Remember the article, guys? TMZ, the one that was released? Ms. Comey says, we do not, Your Honor. The court says, have you spoken to the members of your team and the people who are in the courtroom on your side to confirm that they are not the source of the article? I have, Your Honor, says Ms. Comey. Mr. Agnifilo, the court speaks. Do you know who the source of the article was? I do not. Okay, the court speaks. Have you talked to everyone on your side? Agnifilo says, I have. The court says, to confirm, yes. The court then continues speaking, that they have nothing to do with the article. Agnifilo says, I have confirmed that, yes, Your Honor. The court speaks, well, someone is lying because the courtroom was sealed. The transcript was, the courtroom was closed. The transcript was sealed. I have inquired of the court staff. Nobody has done it on the court's behalf, and there would be no reason for anyone in the court to do anything. So, Ms. Comey, do you have any explanations for what happened that might point to someone outside of this courtroom? There were only a few people here. It's all on the record because it's only the people who are sitting here at counsel table and designated people from each side. Ms. Comey, you stood up. You identified certain people that should be in the courtroom. So we have that on the record. Ms. Garagos, you got up and you identified certain people on the record, and that's on the record. So, Ms. Comey, do you have an explanation for this? Ms. Comey speaks. The only explanation, Your Honor, is the on Your Honor set forth, which is someone who was present for the sealed proceedings violating the court's sealing order and disclose sealed information. The court addresses Agnifilo. Mr. Agnifilo, do you have some other explanation? Agnifilo speaks. I don't, Your Honor. I have no explanation. I've talked with my team about it. I have no explanation whatsoever. Then the court speaks. Were you aware of the article during yesterday's proceedings? Agnifilo speaks. No. I was not aware during yesterday's proceedings. When did you become aware of the article? Mr. Agnifilo answers. I am late I'm not sure. Oh, yes. The government sent it to us. I don't know the time that was, but it was after the court proceedings. Okay. The court speaks. All right. One or more people in this courtroom or the designated people who were here on Friday flagrantly violated this court orders. Now, to be very clear about that, what happened here was a violation of the court's sealing order. For sure. But it wasn't just that. What happened necessarily involved a violation of local rule 23A and C as well. The A violation of the rule subjects attorneys to discipline under local civil rule 1.5. But in the case of the defense own application, this court itself imposes a gag order in which the government, as well as the defendants, Sean Combs, all attorneys for the defendant, and any individuals working under the defendant's or the attorney's supervision or at their discretion, were made accountable. Court emphasized in that order that it expects the parties and any individuals or agencies subject to that order will strictly adhere to the terms of the order and the governing rules. A violation of that order, exactly what happened here, there's no doubt about that, may result in civil or criminal contempt of charge for all those involved. The court issued that order so that this case would be tried on the facts presented in this courtroom, not through the media. That is exactly what the defense asked for. The court's commitment to trying to this case based on the facts and evidence presented here alone was reaffirmed by the parties repeatedly, including through jury selection. The commitment is what I asked of each juror in this case before they were selected, including through jury selection. That commitment is what I asked of each juror in this case before they were selected. That commitment is what I instructed the jury on before this trial commenced. This is the commitment that the participants in this courtroom responsible for what happened violated. I will make sure that this commitment is honored, and I will swiftly investigate and punish any violations that take place. As for what we're going to do here, I will hear from the parties. But Ms. Comey and Mr. Agnifilo, you are each personally responsible for the conduct of your teams and your clients. You will review each action taken and sign all pleadings and applications regardless of who prepares them. There is no passing the buck anymore. The buck stops with you. If anything happens, then lead counsel is responsible. What does that mean? Well, as I said, it could result in criminal contempt charges at the most extreme level, but more basically, as I'm sure the counsel and both sides are aware, if a judge in this court were to write an opinion documented lead counsel's knowing or reckless violation of this court orders, potentially compromising an ongoing judicial proceedings, that would be a bad thing. You'd agree with that, Ms. Comey, right? Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Agnifilo, fair? Very bad, Your Honor. Okay, the court continues speaking. This is the only warning I will give. Everyone here is on notice that if there's any further violations of this court orders or the rules of conduct applicable to these proceedings, these violations will be met with a formal inquiry with people testifying under oath, the delivery of devices and communications to this court for review and possible civil or criminal sanctions. So don't do it. Do I have each affirmations that they will reiterate to everyone affiliated with their sides to adhere to the rules, orders of this court moving forward? And do you understand that lead counsel's responsibility and obligations here? Ms. Comey? Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Agnifilo? I do as well. Thank you, Your Honor. All right. Are there any further applications related to this issue? Not from the government, Your Honor. Agnifilo speaks. Not from us, Judge. Thanks. All right. Now, this goes into further into juror number 6. Okay. Listen to this. All right. Second, Ms. Shapiro, you had asked questions what the jurors were told with respect to juror number 6. So I follow up on that. The jurors were told solely that juror number 6 was excused, that we could not discuss the circumstances of that and do not discuss that amongst themselves. That was all that they were told. And they were given that instructions. Thank you, Your Honor. What other issues do we need to address here? Do we have Mr. Paul? Okay, so then immunity comes in. This is when Paul comes, and that's going to be a separate video. But I wanted to get into what was going on, who got in trouble this morning from this whole situation. So the subject wasn't brought up anymore about who made the leak to TMZ, but the judge is investigating as it pertains to that juror and all that information that was put out there. But I want to know what you guys think in the comments about this whole situation. I mean, clearly the judge is not going to let go, and he said the buck stops here. Who is leaking information to TMZ? Let me know who you think is in who it is in the comments. I'll see you guys later. Last video of today because we got to get up early tomorrow. Bye, guys.